Hi, everybody. I'm Walter, I'm the Dutch Mentor. Welcome back to the Smart Performance Podcast, where S stands for self-care, M for mindful growth, A for adaptive problem solving, R for rhythmic operation, T for building that thriving community, and of course, P for performance. I'm so very happy to have Jennifer here today. We're going to talk today about the different phases of life and actually taking some risk or dreaming big and acting small to make sure that you get to live your fullest life. And sadly, too many of you are stuck and not sure how to get out of it. So we're going to give some actionable takeaways that you can put into play later today to start your journey to wherever that may go. Jennifer, thank you very much for joining me on the show today, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks so much, Walter. So excited to be here. So I'm Jennifer Doty. I live in New Jersey, and I am actively building what I like to call my portfolio career for this part of my career journey. I think if you told the 30-year-old me that this was possible, I would have thought you were nuts back in the day. And so my background is a journey and a zig and a zag, but I started out in public accounting. I'm a CPA by background. I went to school for accounting, not because I was passionate about it, but because it was easy enough. And I was the oldest of four girls, and my parents said, just do us a favor, get a job and don't come back. Right. And so I went into accounting, and I got in and I got out pretty much as fast as I got in. I got myself certified. I was bored. I moved on. I did some startups, and then ultimately I landed at MetLife, which I thought would be a 1 to 2 year place to jump from there to somewhere else, trying to get from Boston back to New Jersey. And then 20 years go by. And, it was an amazing, amazing opportunity. I held probably 9 different roles in my 20 years, everywhere from starting in finance. I was a chief of staff for a senior executive in 2 different roles. And we used to say, when you fly that close to the flame, you learn a lot about how you want to lead from others and how you don't want to lead, Walter, right? And then I took my first job where I led with zero expertise. They asked me to lead a huge IT integration when MetLife acquired a large piece of AIG, which was their international operations called Alico. I knew nothing about technology. I knew how to call the help desk back in those days. I knew how to turn on my laptop. That was probably it. But I quickly learned why I was there was to help bridge the gap between the business teams and the technology team and get people all to run in the same direction. But it was a tremendous learning opportunity around working with people who didn't all necessarily want you in that role, right? And so I wasn't a technologist. I wasn't born and raised coding and developing and, working on a lot of different facets of the technology space. I was an accountant and I was a business person, right? And so once I learned all of the things I needed to do on how to grow a team, how to lead people, how to ask the right questions, how to navigate sticky conversations and uncomfortable conversations, and lastly, most importantly, ask for help when you need it. I then had a lot of courage and confidence as I went forward to do anything that came next for me. And then I spent the last 10 years of my career in the group insurance space. And I don't think anybody grows up as a young child and says, hey, I'd love to be in group insurance, right? But once it finds you and it feels right, you tend to stay with it. And for me, I led a rollout of new products. I led marketing. I eventually had all of operations for the group US business. Also during COVID, before I left MetLife. And then in the summer of 2021, the chairs on the deck changed. And this time I didn't have one. There was a reorganization, and it was my time to leave. And for me, it was a tremendous opportunity for the first time to really think about what I wanted my culture to feel like, the types of people I wanted to work with. I had been navigated through so many different career opportunities at MetLife, and I'm super grateful for all of them, but not all of them were ones that I stepped back and said, yes, I want that. It was sort of by osmosis that I got there, right? And grateful for all those opportunities and everything I learned, right? But for the first time after MetLife, I could step back and say, I really wanted to do great work with great people. And I entered the workforce at a time, again, navigating a career where when I started at MetLife, there was no LinkedIn. Recruiters used to go get you a job. And fast forward to 2021, that's not how it worked, right? And so I needed to, really relearn how I was going to network externally and all those things. And I got really quiet and did a lot of self-development work on what I wanted. And I made lists. I wrote down how did I, not just what I wanted to do, but how did I want to feel? And the feeling part for me is really what helped me align with what the next best step was. And then through a network of a network of a network, I got to 3Flow, which is where I am today. I call it the 9 to 5 part of my career. We are a technology platform that allows group insurance carriers and brokers to more effectively exchange data for quoting and rating and all the things that they no longer need to do in email, which is a horrible way to store information, right? And so I now lead our operations team and super grateful for the opportunities that I have here. And I would say historically, back in the day, that's where the conversation would have stopped. And now I'm happy to share that a little over a year ago, I started building a business on the side of my desk with a company called Live Pure. It's nutrition and supplementation. I have personally consumed the products for 9 years. I started at a time when I was newly divorced. I wasn't sleeping. My stomach was always upset. My energy levels were all over the map, and I needed a nap every day at 3 o'clock. And within 2 to 3 weeks of consuming this nutrition that cleanses, balances, and builds your body from the inside out, I knew I was like, oh, this is for me. I felt dramatically better. And I told no one for years. And then finally, I got the courage a little over a year ago to say, let's see what could happen. Maybe I could get my products paid for. It's like $150 a month. And lo and behold, that first month, what I thought would be, a way to net keep me zero, I paid my monthly mortgage payment on my home with this business in New Jersey, and I've done it every single month since. And now, fast forward, I am super passionate about sharing this business with other people, sharing with people it's possible to build a second income stream. I mean, I'm talking in the high 5 figures on the side of my desk in the first year I did this business. And it's amazing not only to help people with their health, but also to help people with their income. And I've learned to leverage so much of my executive training, my leadership experience, my passion for speaking and sharing my story with other people as I continue to build this business. And I also have written 2 books. And in addition to that, I'm doing speaking engagements and keynotes. And here I am. So that is me. And that's where I'm on this journey.
Good. You're a busy bee from New Jersey. That's very good. Listen, I always say it's about the 4 P's, right? Connecting your purpose and passion to the people and processes you want to work with. And a true growth mindset is not somebody who gets stale, somebody who's always continue to evolve, including taking some left and right steps or turns and things that might not be quite aligned, but do make you a better person. And yes, you do become the person, you become the leader of the people that you worked with. Sadly, that's not always a great thing, right? And learning how to evolve out of that to become the leader that you want to be. And the theme of my company is, right, 15 minutes a day, you too can be the leader you always wanted to have, and the leader your team truly needs to thrive under. And that is a part of evolving and growing and having that little, that side income. And everybody has something to offer, but people are often afraid to take that first step. So talk a little bit more about, instead of procrastinating, or that's not me, or I can't do that, or I don't know, how can they convert something that they feel passionate about into a potential career or a second source of income?
Yeah, so I think it all starts with your mindset. So it all starts with rewriting all those things that you just said. I can't do this. It's too hard. It takes too much time. Why would anyone want to hear from me? I'm not going to do well at it. It's, name it. You name the belief that you've made up in your head that you believe to be true. And you need to start by rewriting those beliefs. And for me on my self-development journey, that was a big part of my process. I needed to rewrite what I believed was possible. I needed to rewrite what I was worthy of, Walter, what I deserved. My beliefs about money, and that I grew up in an era where you had to work really, really hard and lots of hours to be worthy of earning a real substantial income. And it's just not true, right? And so I started by rewriting those beliefs, literally rewriting them down on a piece of paper. Also looking for evidence of where that new belief was true. Well, I actually can do more than one thing. And here's some examples of where I already do it and where I'm really good at it and where I am recognized for my ability to do more than one thing, or how I can connect with people. And so that for me was the most important thing that allowed me to really catapult being successful in having more than one aspect to my career, I had to believe that it was possible.
Yeah, and so good for you. And I think that a lot of people need a little bit of help, and that's one of the reasons why I always say you do not need to do this alone. Find somebody who has modeled this behavior. Go have coffee with them, have dinner with them. Just
Yes.
pick their brain. Now, of course, you can do it in isolation. Just go to Grok AI, turn on the assistant, and talk to Grok for an hour or two in order to be able to find something you feel passionate enough about. Now, we all know that 80% of the great ideas never go anywhere, and they fall flat in the face. Have you had any failures along your route, your journey? And what did you learn from that? And how did you recover from it?
Yeah, I think a lot of it when I've gone, I call it going sideways because I really believe that like when things don't go as you planned, it doesn't mean it's not working out for you, right? So whether I have, had a meeting that didn't go well with Live Pure, or meaning there weren't that many people there is usually what happens. Like people just didn't come for whatever that reason was, right? And instead of being like, oh, geez, is it me? Is it like, why are they not here? Is it like that they don't want to hear about this? I used it as an opportunity to practice sharing my message and practicing the presentation, right? So I think every time something goes sideways for me, I definitely believe, and sometimes it's easier than others, it is all working out. It's happening for you. It's not happening to you. And the question is what can you look at? How can you look at that differently? I mean, there's things that happen to me every day. Like someone will blow me off for a meeting, right? And I'm like, really? Like you couldn't even have told me you weren't gonna come or whatever it is. And I'm like, well, look at that. I just had a half an hour back in my day. I got something else done, right? And so it's how can you reframe those obstacles or those challenges or those missteps, and like what did you learn out of it, right? And like how is it helping you on your journey?
Yeah, your negative brain will hold you back every day of the week, and therefore you have to double promote your positive brain the second you get out of bed by priming and meditation and visioning and taking action steps. So get for me as you start your journey, right? So you have lots of people probably listening to this and say, listen, I know something, I have a love for something. Tell people how to get started. So what is the first and second step that you recommend them taking in order to break loose and maybe generate that second income, or maybe even consider jumping ship and going into a different industry or pursuing a new job?
Yeah, I think it starts with getting really clear on what your why is. Why are you doing it, right? What is your story? Because storytelling, we know, is what shares and you can share with people. It's what sells. Like the story is what sells things, right? It either is going to sell you or it's going to sell your business, it's going to sell your product, right? And so what is your why, and getting really clear on your why to a place that makes you emotional about it, right? And so find a thing that you're very passionate about for whatever reason, right? And then I'm a big believer in ask for help. Like you said, go find someone you know who's done this. Find somebody online. Go mine LinkedIn and find people who do fractional work. In the corporate world, we called it fractional work for a while, right? It wasn't multiple income streams, right? But ask people who you've seen model this, and then get the tips and tools from them, and then leverage what feels best for you, right? There's a lot of people who are willing to help. I mean, my gosh, I'm willing to help anybody. You can ask me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to meet with you for a few minutes and share my journey, what I picked and why I picked it. For me, it was partnering with a company that was aligned around three things. One is I needed to be passionate about what it was. Two, it's about your leadership. So if you're working with other people and you're not entrepreneurially going out on your own, but you're going to partner in another business somewhere, who are your leaders and what are they made of? And are they the top 5 people that you would ever want to be around, right? Like what's the rule of thumb? You are who you surround yourself with, the top 5 people you surround yourself with. So make sure they're people that you aspire to be like. And then lastly, I'm a big process person, Walter. What is the process and the support that goes with that? Is there training? Is it repeatable? Is it something that you can easily absorb, right? Because if somebody dumps a business in your lap, if there's no process and support around it, it's not going to go far and you're not going to be able to scale it.
Listen, I think that's spot on. So obviously, we can talk for hours probably because we both feel very passionate about this. We don't have the time to do that, but I want people to go visit that. So you took some of your thoughts, you put it into a book. Give me a 1 minute version, executive version of what the book is about and why people should pick it up at Amazon or wherever it's available.
Sure. So I wrote two books. The first one was called Just Lead. It's what your boss or a book will never tell you, but experience will. And it's all about all those tidbits of the things that you learn along the way, along your journey as a leader. I mean, my team would tell you, I quote probably something out of that book every single day, right? It's the things you can take and then teach others. And then the second book is called Find the Right Now Role, which is about my journey from losing my job at MetLife through about a month into my new job at 3Flow, and all of the things that no one like warned me about, nobody told me about, because I do genuinely believe now at this part of my life, it's about finding the right role for right now. You're probably not going to be in this role forever, right? Gone are the days of starting at a company and being in a role or at a company for maybe 40 years. Those stories are few and far between. And so how can you make the most out of what you're doing now and then turn that into your next thing? And so it's about that journey and all the things I learned through the process, because no one tells you how to gracefully exit a position. How do you make a job out of looking for a job without going stir crazy? All of those types of things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad. So I do some pro bono work with people who get laid off suddenly, and if financial distress, they really can't afford to work with a professional. They really need to work with a professional, because one thing is, if you've been out in the work for 15 years, coming out, it's not like it was, right? How do I go for an interview? How do I even brand myself? How do I develop my why? So I like helping people out through that process itself and get them back on their feet. And it gives me no greater satisfaction when they land a job at the end of the day. Again, it is about, take meaningful action. And I love your enthusiasm and your passion. I would recommend people pick up the books and continue to read. The key is to really leave your office, right? Leave your house and go meet people. And you can meet people everywhere you go, right? It's just a matter of having a conversation, asking good questions, and then hopefully that will help you get, in the right frame of mind. And that alone can set you up for success. So tell us where we can find you.
Yes. Well, the best place to find me is you can find me on LinkedIn, Jennifer Siervell Doty, or you can also find me on my website, jenniferdoty.com. So you can contact me either way.
Okay, excellent. And give me a closing thought for the listeners today.
Yeah, I think the most important thing to remember is, like I said earlier, what you think about and what words you speak and what thoughts you have really do create your life, whether you believe it or not, right? And you said it earlier, like if you focus on positivity, more of it shows up. If you wake up looking for the negative, I promise you'll see more of it in your day, right? And so focusing on what are those thoughts you want to think, because you get to choose those thoughts, right? And so remembering that and focusing on that really can change the outcome of your day, your month, your life.
I think those are wise words of wisdom that people need to live by. And it really starts the second you get up in the morning. Instead of picking up your telephone, looking at a white screen and shocking your brain, close your eyes and do a little visioning, right? And
Yeah.
get the right frame of mind. Jennifer, thank you very much for joining me today. And again, to the audience, right? None of this matters if you don't listen to it and you're connected to a meaningful action, not 5 things. Start with your why. Go to Simon Sinek. Go listen to his, start with your why and take a meaningful action and start documenting that before you go to step 2. If you don't do that, I promise you by tomorrow morning you have forgotten anything that we had said today. You need to connect. You need to set goals for yourself and measure yourself against those goals. And that will, it's more likely to set yourself up for success. Go to the Dutch Mentor in the Apple Store, download the mobile app, and we'll see you at the next episode. Thank you very much for being here today and for adding value to our audience. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Walter.